Hello everybody! Today we're looking at the Kraus KBF-1201. So let's open the box and see what's inside. Oh man. Here's what was in the box. Of course we've got our faucet. We've got a plate to cover up a 3-hole to 1-hole. We've got a drain. Nice looking drain. A rod for the pop-up, and then 3 different tools. So we've got an aerator key, a hex wrench, and a spanner key. And of course, it comes with instructions. The fact that it comes with a drain, that saves $20. You can see this is a nice metal drain, and the materials match the faucet. And you notice that the faucet has built-in hoses, and I tell you, this saves you a lot of money. I once bought a cheap faucet, and I thought I was saving some money. Then I had to buy 2 hoses, and they were $10 a piece. And then I had to buy a drain, and that was $20. And it turns out I didn't save any money at all, and I just had a cheap piece of junk faucet. Then we got to disconnect the 2 water lines, and I see something awful in here. I got a multi-turn valve, which I hate, and it's got a hard fixed copper line coming out of there, and that's all got to be replaced. So I've got some new quarter-turn valves, so I'm going to turn off the water and replace these valves. I turned off the water main at the inlet to the house, took off the 2 faucets, and you can kind of see they got a little compression fitting here and a compression fitting here. So now I got myself some new quarter-turn valves, and of course these things are always confusing. Let's see, this one says it's for 1/2-inch pipe. Well, sometimes they say 5/8 OD, but that's the same thing. I've always gotten confused. Go, why is one? What's the other? What do I need? And then 1/2-inch and 5/8 are the same size. And you can see it's got the compression fitting in here. But usually what I do is I just throw those away and just reuse the old one and just screw these things back on, and it's always worked really well for me. Okay, all finished. And one thing I've learned over the years on these stupid compression fittings is you got to crank these things down tightly, super tightly, or else they'll leak. And I also put a little caulking all the way around on the inside. You can see a little bit of white caulking there, just a little bit of caulking to help make sure these things don't leak. But like I say, you've got to crank them down tightly and then make sure it doesn't leak. Okay, now I'm going to put in the drain. And here we've got our drain pieces right here. Now the directions say to put this piece of rubber on there, stick this baby in. Well, first then put a big bead of silicone around the edge and put this thing in there, and then tighten it down in the back with these 3 pieces. And I've done that before, and it's just not worked out very well. These stupid rubber gaskets have never worked out well for me. Now the real way you're supposed to do it is you use plumber's putty. So what you do is you make like a little snake of plumber's putty, put it all the way around in here, and then tighten it in the back with these items right here. And that's always worked so much better for me than these stinky little rubber gaskets. What happens is the gasket on this sink, it comes in as such a V in here that the gasket doesn't even make contact. So the gasket's just a big waste of space. On other sinks, it's flatter. And then you have the gasket on here, and then when you tighten this thing down there's a little gap between the sink and the metal, and it looks kind of funny, and you get dirt in there. And like I said, I've just never had any good luck with the gasket, so the gasket's getting thrown away. I'm using the good old plumber's putty. Okay, you can see I put a nice thing of plumber's putty. You don't really need too much plumber's putty because it all gets squeezed out, and you'll end up just wiping it away anyway. So now it's time to put the thing in there, and then as I tighten down the nut, it's going to get all squeezed out nice and flat. So I tighten up the nut on the back side really well, and you just wipe up all the plumber's putty that comes out. The next step is installing the faucet. So I disassembled the nut I guess they call this a washer. If you read the washer, it says, whoops, this side to deck. So that's the side that goes facing up underneath the counter. So since I'm doing a single hole, I'm going to keep this part right here. It fits right on there. This for single hole. But if I had a 4-inch spacing 3-hole, I would use this thing to cover the 2 unused holes and not this. So that'd be the only difference. And they have a spanner key, which is supposed to fit this nut. Well, here we are. So I made sure that this was exactly centered around the hole. And I got this thing in here, and we'll just tighten up with the spanner key and get it pretty darn snug. And that's awfully simple. Well, I tried this plastic spanner wrench, and I was afraid I was going to break it. I wasn't getting it tight enough. So I imagine it's 11 millimeter, but I have a 7/16 inch wrench would fit on there, and I got it nice and tight, so the faucet's not going to accidentally get moved. Okay, now that everything is all firmly tight, we got a few more little items. We got this baby, the drain body. You can see there's a little O-ring there. And of course we got the lift rod that has to go in, and I got the lever that makes it go up and down, the stopper itself. Okay, now we're ready to attach the drain body to the drain. You can see there's a rubber O-ring there, and if that's good and tight, we'll be okay. Anyway, I put some sealer on here, and I'm going to tighten this thing down as tight as I can where it's still pointing towards the back. Okay, that came out to be pretty darn snug, and now we just undo this baby here, and be careful. There's a gasket in here. See that white gasket? Make sure that the white gasket doesn't fall out. And you can see that gasket goes right up against this white ball. And here, I'll put the stopper in there. We got to make sure that we skewer the stopper with this metal rod. Oh, I hope this is on camera. We've got to make sure that we skewer the stopper with this metal rod and then screw everything together. Okay, well, here we go. Hear the thing opening and closing the drain. Looks real nice. You get it kind of snug here. Very nice, works nicely. So we can see we took the spring clip and put it in here. Got it like in mid position, and we pull up. It's a good. We get it for a good distance. We adjust this and pick the right hole to where this kind of goes up to a reasonable amount. And now it's all the way down. Down. Okay, everything works. There's no leaks. I'll keep on checking it for the next day or two. The water works. Beautiful faucet. Beautiful sink. And it wasn't too bad at all. Having to use 2 taps was a real drag. I'm sure glad I got a single handle faucet.